It's August 27th. This is the latest update on the reopening of Medellin, Colombia. Follow along. Okay, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever it is you're located, and thanks for watching. This is my update on the reopening of Medellin, Colombia. It is August 27th. This is Thursday night. I've gathered as much information as I can on the reopening of Medellin. If I'm missing something, especially to my subscribers, please reach out and let me know. Also want to stop and give a quick shout out, even before I begin. A shout out to Dale, who just told me about the possible 2-week quarantine when you do land, but also to Ada from the Running Fish for a great interview about the reopening of Guatemala the other day. Los Lentes Tube, of course, appreciate your support. Diego, Jorge, Bandit Team, of course, Davico, Logan, Mark, Tragua, and of course, Gail and Ed in Medellin. Thank you guys so much for all of your help, support, and assistance too. But I'm going to jump right in this one. I'm going to read a few articles. And again, I know you guys can read, but I'm going to read along with you, or in case you're not looking at the screen, you could just listen to me talk. You can just drive in the car and not have to worry about looking at the pictures. But hopefully I got this in somewhat a chronological order. I will tell you this from what I found. It's a mess. It's a mess. It looks like one side doesn't know what the other side is doing. Just watch some of the titles on some of the articles that I'm going to read. I'm using a couple different sources. Colombia Reports is my first one. So let's jump right in. This one is from a couple days ago on the 24th. So 3 days ago on the 24th, it's entitled Duque's Latest COVID-19 Recovery Plan for Colombia Bars Without Booze. So yes, they were going to open up bars and not have booze. So work that out. I don't know if they're going to let you bring it in or how that was going to work or what. Again, this is Colombia Reports, but it's a quick one. I'm not going to go through the full length one because I want to get through a few of these. And some of this stuff is important. Some of this is good. So if you're one of my subscribers or viewers just in general who are looking to get to Medellin, Colombia on the 1st when they're supposed to reopen the airports, you need to listen to this video. Listen to some of the articles that I'm reading. Use these sources as your own. And call the airport by all means, because there's a few things that have to line up. It's not so much as the government saying, okay, international flights are open, come on in. And all of a sudden the planes are there. They have to work with the aviation departments also of different countries to decide whether or not they're going to open then, and when they're going to open, and then what's going to be the protocols for when they do open. Meaning, are they going to scan the foreheads? Are they going to require a 2-week quarantine when you do land? Just basic things, spraying the airport, spraying you, because they spray you in Medellin. I mean, they will spray you and douse you with stuff. So there's a lot that needs to be coordinated. But let's jump right in this one. Okay, it says President Ivan Duque has increasing trouble hosting his daily COVID-19 show as Colombia's coronavirus outbreak has become the deadliest in the world. Sound familiar, people in the U.S.? Duque on Saturday tried to compare fatality rates with those of countries where the disease peaked weeks earlier, but was interrupted by Health Minister Fernando Ruiz, who said such a comparison made no sense. So I want to see this one where he's actually saying this, and then the health minister leans over and says that comparison makes no sense. According to international data, Colombia had the highest number of deaths per million inhabitants over the past week, a little more than neighboring Peru, which registered a higher number of infections per million over the past week. A week before the end of the president's national emergency, the virus reached a new record number of 400 daily deaths on Sunday. This is recent too. So here's one thing. Let me stop right quick, because here's something. I happen to know, and everybody else who's in the U.S. or watching U.S. news knows, that you cannot just open. I mean, I'm here to tell you, I'm in Houston, and I'm here to tell you, by the governor saying open up the borders, open up the businesses, and everything's supposed to be fine. Look what happened. It spiked back up. You cannot just open up over a period of weeks. This stuff is serious. It's going to get worse. And the younger crowd that's out there don't take this serious. So back to this one right quick, just a couple more lines. Not counting untested facilities, 17,314 have died of the pandemic on Sunday, and 541,147 people, more than 1% of the population, has been infected by coronavirus. Obviously, some areas are worse than others. Bogota is a major city, so it's worse than others. Medellin has been doing well with the mayor, Daniel Quintero, and his Medellin Me Cuido program. So they've done pretty well, but they've done pretty well by keeping everyone at home too. So now they're just opening up the doors and everybody can go out. No pico de cédula. You can actually go out and shop whenever you want now. So Duque's attempts to restart the economy again against the advice to first control the spread of the virus is showing serious cracks despite the government's barrage of false positives. As more doctors and nurses fall ill, the country's healthcare system is close to collapsing under the weight of the pandemic as the president's promised funds to reinforce the system never arrived. And here's a quote from the Colombian Medical Federation Vice President Carolina Corcho. They state, "I do not understand which proper management of the pandemic they are celebrating. This is a humanitarian and public health tragedy that cannot be normalized." It's the same thing here. The people in charge, the governor, the president, the Congress, and the Senate are all saying, you know, it's over, it's on its way down. But the healthcare providers are saying, no. Here's the reality of what's happening on the ground in the hospital. So from there, let's jump to this story. Well, not a story, but I think this was the 24th. Yeah, the 24th, where the mayor, Daniel Quintero, came out and everybody in Medellin was celebrating because they're actually going to do the reopening. So if you're there, that's good. They're going to do the reopening. But I mean, I would love to stay positive, but some things just don't make sense. So, but this is what is going to be open. Transport Aeronacional, I guess that's local flights, national flights. And that is the last week of August. Transport intermunicipal, I guess from city to city. The last week of August, gastronomia, okay, I'm going to guess this is restaurants and food. The last week of August. Now, one thing I noticed too, on any of these directives or information or articles, there's nothing that says 50% here, 25% there, must do this, must do that. These are just basic statements. So here we go. Gymnasiums in September, the first week the first week. Gymnasiums are supposed to open next week. Theaters, libraries, and major plazas, the second week again. Culto de iglesias, I'm going to guess churches, okay. The second week of September. Escenarios, deportes, sports, and cycles and so on are going to be the second week. Parque RV, Pueblito Paisa, Cerro El Voladar, and these are parks and major places. Parque RV is really nice too. Pueblito Paisa is a good place to go to if you're visiting Medellin. That's going to be one of your top 10 places to go and visit too. Parque RV too, and taking the tram up. That is the second week of September. Motels, I guess, which means motels and hotels, the second week. And then the third week, movies, theaters, let's see, Parque Norte, the third week, casinos, and I guess another sports. Let's see, that is the third week of September. Coliseos, I guess Coliseums, you tell me. October, the first week of October. Aeroparque, Juan Pablo, let's see, third week. Discotheques and bars, let's see, this is November, so discos and bars aren't open until the third week of November. So at least they know they still have some time to get that together. But what's opening right now, there's really, I'm not seeing any details. And I'm told that it's so far up in the air all the time, it's hard to track. La Macarena, Eventos públicos, I guess major public events, that's going to be in December. Okay, so from there, so the mayor, Daniel Quintero, puts this out on the 24th. And then the 25th, the president comes out. Just so you know, I read an article that his approval rating was sub 30%. So he wasn't doing good. He was having some issues after issues. And then came the virus. And because he locked it down and took charge, the public saw it as, okay, he's taking charge, he's doing a good job. So I guess his rating went up. I don't know what it is right now, but his rating went up. But this one is entitled, and I'm looking at the Medellin Herald right now, which is a good source, by the way. I reached out to the president earlier. I'd love to get an interview with him. But this one is entitled, Colombian President Ivan Duque announced last night, August 24th, that the national COVID-19 quarantine, which includes many current exemptions, will continue through to November 30th. Okay, now, this is the day after the mayor of Medellin put out his, what I just read, everything is opening and when it's going to open. The announcement potentially could trip up Medellin Mayor Daniel Quintero's new plan to lift Pico y Cédula shopping restrictions starting next week. Area Metropolitan de Valle de Aburrá, AMVA, the Medellin Metro Council of Government, has yet to announce any decision on Pico y Cédula restrictions for September. If you don't know, Pico y Cédula is where you can only go out a certain day of the week. They used to have it for cars, same thing in Mexico. If your last number on your cedula ends in an even number or an odd number, that's your day, and so on. So meanwhile, as of September 1st, the national quarantine evolves from a system where we had exceptions to one of the specific restrictions, according to President Duque. The more liberal quarantine systems arise because we are in a phase where we have reached a kind of plateau in COVID-19 cases with a downward trend. And I'm going to show you how much of a downward trend they are before their reopening. I personally think this is too soon, but I'm overly cautious anyway because I'm watching it here and I know they opened too soon and screwed it up. We are no longer going to be governed by exceptions, but by specific restrictions, where restrictions will apply to events and crowds, where we will continue to advance in the opening of sectors with the protocols that have been established by the Ministry of Health, Duque stated in a nationally televised address. Is it me, or is he like Alan Greenspan and green speaking? Because what he just said makes no sense. Now, I know I don't know if this is in English or because my browser would change it to English for me, but there's something I'm missing. He's just talking all over the place, it sounds like. Not to dog the president. To combat the pandemic, Colombia has adopted tiered regulations for municipalities with low, medium, and high incidences of coronavirus infections. Under the new scenario, Colombia will have very clear guidelines. I'm not seeing any clear guidelines. Okay, I added that part if you're not reading along. Very clear guidelines on issues such as national air transport, which we want to open much more quickly, but obviously with special observance in those highly affected municipalities, he said. In parallel, we cannot relax, we cannot lower our guard, and we will have to assume greater responsibility for self-care in exercising physical distancing, along with mandatory use of masks in public spaces and frequent hand washing. Okay, let me jump to the next one, because after that, what's this entitled and what date is this? This is back in July 30th, but I wanted to read this because Colombia hopes to have international air traffic normalized by November. Okay, so they put this back out on July 30th, 3.5 weeks ago. Colombia's aviation authority is planning to have international flights normalized in November, according to Blue Radio. This is important because they're saying right here, it's going to change, but they're saying right here that Colombia Aviation Authority is planning to have international flights normalized in November, according to Blue Radio. Transport Minister Angela Maria Orozco, old girl's having a hard time right now, said in May that she planned to begin reopening international air traffic on September 1st. Blue Radio received the reopening schedule of Aviation Authority Civil. That's the organization where they have to work with the airlines and the airports to decide this. It's not so much as them saying, okay, we're open, come on in. Anyway, as part of the pilot plans that includes the creation of secure health corridors. Tourists not traveling until November. This is why I brought this one up, because I wanted you to see this. Tourists not traveling until November. Again, they're changing this stuff daily right now. It seems like they're flying by the seat of their pants and really don't have a clue, which is appropriate, and you'll see why. The normalization of flights for tourism and visitors will not be taking place until November, according to the Aero Civil schedule. Let's see. Whether this schedule will be executed as planned depends on the development of COVID-19 pandemic, which is projected to reach its infection peak in Colombia between late August and early September. So they're saying, okay, so we know it's not going to peak until then. Now, it's gone down a little bit over the past few days and week or so, and that's their downward trend they're talking about. I guess because they saw it go down, he's ready to open it back up. I don't have a clue myself. According to Blue Radio, the aviation authorities began coordinating the resumption of flights within Latin America this week and will continue to do so with aviation authorities of countries outside the region. Ahead of the planned resumption of international flights, Aero Civil has been resuming flights between the cities of Cucura and Bucaramanga as a pilot project since July 21st. The initial resumption of national flights. Some 439 traveled between the two cities in the first week of the pilot project. And this just shows you that there's just two locations where they are flying internally. Okay, so let's jump from there to, and that's why I say, well, let's watch her first. Okay, there she is, Maria Angela Orozco. Colombia's transport minister, clueless about restart international air travel, and this one is dated as of yesterday, and I'm back in Colombia Reports, and that's colombiareports.com. So Colombia Transport Minister appeared clueless on Tuesday in regards to how and when international air travel that was suspended due to the COVID-19 pandemic would be reestablished. In an interview with RCN Radio, Transport Minister Angela Maria Orozco said that the ban on foreign visitors will be lifted on September 1st, but added that no date has been set to allow the entry of incoming flights. Wait, what? The minister said she hoped to have specific information later this week after receiving recommendations from the health ministry. So she's saying that we're open, but that we're not sure we're going to let flights in. Okay. So this is according to Angela Maria Orozco. This is her quote. Decree 569 that restricts the entrance of international travelers allowed the civil aeronautics to eliminate the restriction with previous approval of the Ministry of Health. This proposal has already been presented and we are waiting for the answer, which as far as we know would come in the course of this week. Now this is yesterday. Again, all this information about we're opening to international flights. I know people, I have subscribers that are ready to get back down, ready to visit their family or their wives or their loved ones. So depending on the health ministry, incoming travelers will probably have to show that they tested negative for COVID-19, said Orozco, who was evidently clueless of what was going on. And this is clueless. She doesn't know if you're going to have to give approval, get a test before you can fly. That doesn't make sense to me. Okay, I just don't get it. I don't get it. A decree that would allow international air travel to begin restarting a process appears to still be in the making. A plan by civil aviation agency Aero Civil to restart international travel that was leaked last month revealed that incoming travel would initially only be allowed for business travelers and not open the country for tourists until November. So please note this. This is why I'm doing this video, and I'm going to do it every couple of days for Medellin and Colombia as well as for Guatemala. I'm trying to give you as much information as I find. I spend a lot of time in the evenings looking for this information for you guys, so hopefully this is of benefit. Why can't I pronounce this? Aero Civil Director Juan Carlos Salazar told newspaper El Espectador earlier this month that he expected to need at least a year to normalize international air travel. And I've flown there quite a few times to Medellin, and there's not that many flights that I can tell per day coming in from the U.S. And what I can tell also, and because my flights, I think almost all of them except for Fort Lauderdale, Florida, somewhere in Florida, I think, maybe MIA, that had to go through Bogota first. So how's that going to work too? So here, Orozco, according to Orozco, Salazar's agency is currently negotiating with foreign governments to see with which countries routes could be reestablished and under what conditions. The ministry admitted that of the almost 200 countries in the world, only 3 or 4 have no incoming travel restrictions. And this is something they haven't worked out yet. So how can they say we're going to open on September 1st? They're not opening. All these flights that are booked, and I'm sure there are flights that are booked, because the airlines have to decide ahead of time. So I think they're going to give you your money back, or they're going to try to give you a credit, but make sure you got the ticket where you just can cancel it and they give you your money back right away. 2 of these countries are Brazil and Mexico, also are among the countries hardest hit by the coronavirus. So from there, I want to jump to this. Colombia's, and I'm back to Medellin Herald. And this just shows them decontaminating a plane. But do they give it enough time to dry? I see them wiping it, but I don't really see it drying too much. Colombia's health ministry, and this is really hard to read too. Hope they do a darker color black. But after analysis with epidemiologists, according to information that suggests that Colombia is reaching the peak and observing a reduction in the speed of transmission of COVID-19, added to others' estimates, the national government considers that conditions do not persist to keep international flights closed, according to the Health Ministry Bulletin. We know who the health minister is. In consideration of the current state of the pandemic in Colombia, since it is unlikely that the flights will further increase transmission and the progressive opening that is allowed under newly modified Colombian quarantine rules taking effect September 1st, conditions do not persist to maintain closed international flights to and from the major capitals of the country. So take a look at these articles. I don't get it. And here's another one too. This was a study, and this was a link from this study, if I'm not sure. One of these that linked over to this that shows someone, they used this study to say that the rate of transmission is only 1 out of 4,300 if you don't take the middle seat out. But let me read this first paragraph for you. Recent research results and data generate the approximation that when all coach seats are full on a U.S. jet aircraft, the risk of contracting COVID-19 from a nearby passenger is about 1 in 4,300 as of early July 2020. Under the middle seat empty policy, that risk falls to about 1 in 7,700. These estimates imply COVID-19 mortality risk in uninfected air travelers are considerably higher than those associated with plane crashes, but probably less than 1 in 500,000. But then when you get to the meat of the study, well, this also says here, because if you didn't know which airlines, as of July 1 of this year, the U.S. air carriers American, Spirit, and United Airlines are filling all seats on their flights when demand warrants, and demand warrants if you buy a seat. But Delta, JetBlue, and Southwest Airlines, which keep middle seats empty. I'm a fan of Southwest, guys. U.S. sucks. I'm not U.S. United sucks, but Southwest is the bomb. Well, maybe I shouldn't say it that way. I like Southwest. Everybody fills up those aisles and the windows, and they're keeping that as a policy for now. I think this is through the fall. We'll keep middle seats empty. While Delta Airlines plans to continue its policy well beyond September, United Airlines CEO Scott Kirby stated that there is no such thing as social distancing on a plane. Yeah, it is. Just don't fill a flight. This guy right here is the one who started these cheap seats on there too, that you don't know where you're going to sit until you get to the airport. You don't have luggage. This is like, I don't like that guy, if you can't tell. Anyway, they end up by stating these facts, which were used in Medellin's study to open the flights up. And here's what they end up with. P equals Q times Q to the nth power. And look at this. Okay, I got lost after P equals Q because I don't know P and I don't know Q. So I know my P's and Q's. But anyway, so here's the latest on what's going on in Colombia right now. 572,000 total cases, 270 out of a population of 49 million. Why can I not scroll down here? Come on. It's not showing me. Oh, come on. Because this page had the rate of infection and the rate of falling. So there you go, but I wanted. Oh Lord, don't tell me I have to zoom in. Okay, can we do this? There you go. Okay, so let's scroll down. So it says Antioquia, which is where Medellin, 74,796,000 total cases, 1,533 have died, 54,702 recovered. And here's Antioquia right here. And plus 1,881. I don't know if this is over the day of the week, but as we scroll down, you can see it's been going along, and then as August 21st, so for the past week, the cases have dropped, and now they're saying, oh, there's a trend of it dropping, so let's reopen and let Americans in and let everybody else in. I don't know if they're going to let Americans in, but good luck with that. Because, for instance, for Guatemala, 15% of all their people came from the U.S. So I don't see it being any difference for down here. But look at this. It's barely dropped over the past week, so they're saying let's reopen. This is not good. I don't see any drop in cases right here. The evolution up until, what, the 24th or 7th, 25th? I can't see that. It's too late. Oh, there you go. 24. Okay. But this just shows, okay, in blue are the active cases. So it started off with a lot of active cases. The active cases are going now, and the recoveries are going up, which is a good thing. And then the deaths are in purple, which looks pretty steady. But anyway, this is the information I wanted to get to you right now. But again, it looks like to me like they don't know what's going on. The Ministry of Health, Ms. Orozco, bless her heart. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to keep you up to date as best I can. Again, thanks so much to all my subscribers and all my viewers. Shout out again to Ed and Gail and Ada, and thank you guys for your interviews. I hope to get more interviews coming up soon. I'm going to continue to do mostly videos on Guatemala and Medellin and Colombia in general. And on a side note, I am going to switch my videos, my my humorous videos and my moving to Houston videos to a separate channel. Okay, I am going to end up monetizing this channel, and I'm going to move probably half of the stuff to another channel. But I'm going to still do these videos and do updates, and I'm going to be back in Medellin whenever I can. I'm just not flying in September, or probably October, or probably November. And you know what? You're probably not either, because it's probably not going to be accepting tourists by then too. They need to get the whole visa thing worked out. There's so many things they need to do. And let me tell you something about MDE. Medellin's airport is tiny. When you come in on that flight, and if you take the late one in, and you come in and everybody gets off that plane at the same time, man, you're going to be standing in line for a while. It depends on how many guards or agents they have that are looking at your IDs and your passports. Man, let me tell you something. It moves slow. It's a struggle. But you have to be patient, because remember, when you leave the U.S. and you get there, the time is not the same. It's a whole lot slower when you get there, and they do not move quickly for you. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'll give you more updates as soon as I can. This is getting excited because I'm encouraged for those who can get there, especially those who have loved ones there. I'm encouraged right now that they're at least showing some progress. Everybody I know that's down there is happy to get out, no more pico y cedula. They can get out and do shopping whenever they want. They can put on a mask like we do here and walk around. But what that also does is that invites a rise, because people, the virus is passed by touching a face. Man, if I see somebody else put a mask on, this is a new mask, put a mask on and touch the front. Oh, please, people, don't touch the front of the mask. By the way, masks are sold at www.texasdigipros.com. Links at the bottom. Please comment, share, like helps the YouTube algorithm. Help me grow. Again, if I'm offering any information of benefit, please go down and hit the subscribe button. Like, comment, and share. Thanks again, guys.
We have a YouTube channel. Like it.
Please comment and share if you like the video. Please subscribe and click the bell.